Every now and then, it's good to step outside your comfort zone, try something new, and embrace a different playstyle. Me personally, I'm more of a mid to longer range, take cover, precision fire kind of player, and so when I decided to loop back around to this one, a build that has been around for a long time, it felt like I was playing an entirely new game. What's going on, everybody? It's LukeTheDuke, and welcome back to the channel. So today, we're taking it all the way back to Season 11, September 2020. Summit was just introduced to the game. We got arguably one of the two best exotics ever in the Memento backpack, and this gear set was first introduced, instantly making it a top 5 best builds in the game setup. Of course, I'm talking about Hunter's Fury. Meant for close quarters combat, this gear set really got all the best talents money could buy. SMG and shotgun damage, both armor and health on kill in large percentages, and a massive amp damage debuff mechanic, disorient crowd control, and additional amp damage bonuses based on target range. And since there's still a lot of new players kind of learning the game, as well as veterans just looking for the quickest way to farm, like those resource convoys, it was time to revisit this incredible build. For this one, you're going to need 4 pieces of Hunter's Fury, basically everything except the chest piece and backpack. Now the gear set bonuses are such: 2 pieces equals 15% shotgun and SMG damage, the 3 piece is plus 20% armor on kill and plus 100% health on kill, and the 4 piece bonus is stout. Enemies within 15 meters receive a debuff, amplifying your weapon damage against them by 20%. Killing a debuffed enemy with your weapon disorients other enemies within 5 meters and amplifies weapon damage by 5% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. So, TLDR version here, if we are within 15 meters of a target, we instantly pick up plus 20% amp damage, which, remember, is multiplicative. And once we kill one of those affected targets, it spreads a disorient status effect around that killed target at a range of 5 meters. And gives us another 5% amp damage for 10 seconds for killing those affected targets, stacking up to an additional 5 times. So, if you've been counting, that's plus 20% amp damage for being in range, and then, if we can get this thing all stacked up, that's another plus 25% amp damage on top of that 20%, netting us a staggering plus 45% amp damage just through the gear set alone. Quickly running through the build, starting off with the Hunter's Muzzle Mask. Of course, this build is full DPS commitment, and that means we're going to want weapon damage, critical hit damage, and I've added on a critical hit chance mod. The idea here is we want as close to 60% critical hit chance stacked up onto our build, as that is the hard cap, and then we want as much additional critical hit damage as possible. The holster is the Hunter's Quiver with weapon damage and critical hit damage as the attribute. The gloves are the Hunter's Claws with weapon damage and again, critical hit damage. And the Hunter's Stride knee pads are the 4th and final piece of Hunter's Fury with weapon damage and again, critical hit damage as the attribute. Before I cover the pieces you want for the chest and backpack, at least what I run, let me quickly touch on why I do not use the Hunter's Fury items in these 2 slots. First is the chest piece with the additional Endless Hunger talent, which increases those bonus amp damage stacks from the base of 10 seconds up to 30 seconds, and I just don't find it very useful. Once you have this setup up and running, the damage is just overflowing, and I don't find those additional 20 seconds beneficial. I find much the same with the backpack and Overwhelming Force, which doubles the disorient effect range from 5 to 10 meters. We're going to be up and hitting spawns so quickly, I just don't find it useful to have additional status effect range on this one either. Just my 2 cents though, and leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. Now onto the real chest piece I use, and remember, we are going full red DPS commitment here with this one, so I've gone with the Sokolov chest for that 10% SMG damage, along with crit hit chance, crit hit damage attributes, and a max crit hit damage mod to finish it up. Now for the talent, not for everyone, I know, but I like Glass Cannon. Plus 25% amp damage is a big gain in output, but you have to be careful because all the incoming damage is amped up against you by a whopping 50%. Additional options here, you could slot in place of glass cannon. Could be something like an all-red closer chest piece for perfect spotter, possibly unbreakable. Obliterate is a solid choice, and maybe even an outlier like trauma. Again, it's up to you. And to round out the gear I'm using, the backpack is Grupo Sombra for 15% additional crit hit damage with weapon damage, crit hit damage, and unfortunately I have a max skill damage attribute. Ideally that would be headshot damage, which I'm going to be on the lookout for in the future. This piece also has a max crit hit damage mod. Now for the talent, Bloodsucker, which gives us plus 10% bonus armor and stacks up to 10 times for killing enemies. This build is all about getting in super close and netting those quick kills, but of course we're going to be taking incoming damage, especially with glass cannon on the chest, and Bloodsucker keeps the build topped up with bonus armor, which means max time shooting and no time taking cover or wrapping with an armor plate. There's a lot of flexibility built into this build as well. You could add in the Memento backpack for all those long-term buffs. Maybe something like a ninja bike setup with a couple pieces of strikers for all that rate of fire. As long as you have 4 pieces of Hunter's Fury unlocked, the options are up to you and what you're comfortable with. Now, as far as the best place to farm for Hunter's Fury, that's going to be the countdown game mode, if it's working for you. Remember to set your targeted loot to Hunter's Fury before beginning a countdown run, and you should see Hunter's Fury pieces dropping left and right in this game mode. Next is the Specialization, and Gunner really is the way to roll with this one. Make sure to select SMG and shotgun nodes for the bonus weapon damage, but the talent tree here is why we use Gunner. Riot Foam grenades are great for keeping enemies at bay. Incessant gives us plus 10% bonus armor for killing targets. Coupler for plus 50% reload speed every third reload. The Banshee Pulse, which we can use against spawn closets to keep enemies in place. Supply Line for ammo restocks, meaning less ammo box resupplies. And Barrage for another plus 5% rate of fire on kill for 5 seconds. For the weapon, it's all about the exotic Chatterbox SMG. Now, this FN P90 doesn't look overly impressive at rest. I mean, the base damage of 42.8k at just 700 RPM is well below that of other SMGs. For instance, the Backfire is sitting at 53.1k and an RPM of 850. The Lady Death is slightly below that of the Chatterbox at 41.4k, but it has a 900 RPM. And even the named Apartment Sig, just like the Backfire, is at 53.1k and 850 RPM. But what the Chatterbox lacks in base stats, it overcomes with its weapon talent. So here is the Chatterbox I am using. It comes with, of course, SMG damage, crit hit chance, and crit hit damage, which you cannot recalibrate. And reload speed is super fast at 1.4 seconds, of course, aided by my maxed out Shade Watch. What makes the Chatterbox really sing is the incessant chatter weapon talent. Essentially, for every enemy within 15 meters when we reload, we're going to gain a 20% rate of fire increase, which is massive, which caps out at 5 stacks. So that means if we reload with 5 enemies around us, we gain an additional 100% rate of fire, taking the Chatterbox from 700 up to 1400 rounds per minute. And that's not all. Kills refill 50% of your magazine. So if you can catch a large spawn or even a spawn door, you can hit all your Hunter's Fury amp damage requirements and stacks, plus you could have the Chatterbox firing at 1400 plus RPM and not having to reload as you just mow through the targets. Think of it like the Bullet King LMG, but in a much more compact form. For the skills, like I mentioned earlier, I really like to use the Gunner Banshee Pulse for further disorient effects and to really lock in those NPCs as I ramp up the build stats. Now for a little extra protection, especially when you're trying to first ramp up those damage stacks, the Crusader Shield is also a good selection here. And here's my Shade Watch, so you can see it fully maxed out and a bonus health boost of 35,172. Checking out the overall build stats, with some of the attributes on the gear pieces still not fully optimized, we are at 58% crit hit chance. Remember that hard cap's at 60%, so we're really close. 169.2% crit hit damage, which falls into the same category as headshot damage. So if we are critting while hitting headshots, that is when we're going to be doing the most damage. Nearly 100% all weapon damage bonuses and 55% submachine gun damage bonuses built into this build as well. Remember, we are not using any armor cores here, which if you find yourself getting folded, you may want to consider adding into your build, but this setup is sitting at 726k armor with 217k armor on kill to keep us up and in the fight. Overall, this build is custom suited for tight close quarters combat like federal emergency bunker or other indoor missions. Plus, one of the main reasons I decided to post this guide is that many players are again hitting those resource convoys en masse for quick shade ranks, and this build really excels at that. I like to hit the crate carriers with a foam grenade, get this build all charged up, and then run directly in front of the second and third wave spawn doors and just absolutely melt them. If you time it correctly, between the rate of fire, all that amp damage, and the disorient effects, those NPCs won't have enough time to even exit the doors before getting crushed. As always, I look forward to reading your feedback in the comments section below. How do you run with Hunter's Fury? Glass cannon? Maybe something else? Anything like that makes for an interesting read. Remember to smash that sub button for more intensive Division content, and while you're at it, ring the notifications bell to receive my latest upload alerts. Don't forget to set your notifications to receive all, or YouTube will only send you occasional alerts and you could miss out on my latest video. If you could take a few seconds more to rate and or share this video, that would also be greatly appreciated. Remember, you can find and follow me on Twitch, Twitter, and over in my open community Discord server, links to all of which can be found in the video description and pinned comments below. Shout out to the over 115,000 of you that have taken that leap and hit that subscribe button, and a special thanks goes out to the Buzz Battalion patrons over on Patreon. Until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer, signing off.